conversation with Jan Graveson with the Life Sutra talk show. Welcome, Jan, to the show.
Thank you.
I'm very glad that you are here. I have a lot of questions to ask you about your personal journey as well as your professional journey, and I'm very curious to know how it all shaped up. What I learned that very early in life you started recognition, you were recognized, you were acting, music, and then you moved to London for your professional life. So how have been your journey from early days to professional life?
Okay, the journey has not been easy, I'll be honest. It's been very tough. But again, I never felt like there was anything else that I wanted to do other than what I have done. So at 6, I was performing. So when I was born, I started singing. So music has been very much part of my life and my whole system. I was born into a musical family. There was a piano in the house, so I automatically started playing the piano. So 6 years old, I was performing on stage. At 7, I started dancing school. I must tell you that I'm from a very poor background. I'm from a working class background from the north of England. So life was never easy for me because that area in those days was very depleted. There were no facilities, there was nothing there. A few comprehensive schools. So it was never going to be easy. However, I did start piano lessons, and somehow my mother and father managed to get a little bit of money together, which actually came from my father because he was a miner. That was a very tough job, but he sang. My father also sang. He had music in him too. And he sang in the working men's clubs in the north of England. The money he earned from that paid for my piano lessons. So my father's music paid for my music. And that's how we managed to get through. We scraped by. But somehow my mother was very resourceful and she always found money to get me to dancing school. So I studied as a dancer and I studied as a musician, and I learned the piano with the Royal Schools of Music. I was very gifted with music. The acting and the singing are very different. I didn't train as an actor and I didn't train as a singer. So once I moved to London at age 16 to follow my dreams.
That's very early in life.
It's very early, but again, I knew before I started school that I wanted to move away from the north, not because I'm not proud of where I'm from, but because I realized that what I wanted to do would never have been possible in the north of England. So I had to move away. And I did that, and I came up against a lot of friction once I got to London, because I didn't speak with a London accent. I didn't speak very good English according to these people. I spoke with a northern accent. Nobody could understand me, but the passion was in my heart to be an actor and perform. So I followed it. I kept following that, and the same answer I give to people when they ask me why I'm here. I followed my heart. It's the story of my life. My life was never straightforward. I didn't marry. I didn't have kids and a family and do the whole mortgage route.
This reminds me of a line from your movie which says, have you loved or have you been loved?
Yes.
And that's my question to you.
Yes. Yes.
What's your experience in life about the same line that if you go from your famous movie?
Yes. From everything. Yes.
From everything.
Well, fortunately, I must add that I was very excited to work with Ray Winstone because he is a huge star. He's very treasured in England and he's a wonderful man, and he has also come up the hard way. And I found quite often in my career and my journey as a performer that a lot of actors who I resonate with and who have that raw edge to their work are those that have not studied acting at an acting institute. And I'm not pro that or anti that. All I'm saying is that there seems to be, from my experience, a little bit of an edge with the actors who haven't gone through the regime of learning how to act at a school. Now that line was very prominent in the film, and it's amazing that you've picked up on that line, because it was the biggest line in the movie for me. Not just for the character, but for me.
Life as well.
Yes, and to play that role, it was very tasking. It was a huge part to play. I had to be very bold. I was very courageous in my attitude towards how I pursued playing that character, Naomi. And when they told me, there'll be nudity, there'll be this, I thought, I don't think that it's something that I can manage to do. I was challenged by the writer, who also directed the film. And he said to me, "You call yourself an actress. How can you call yourself an actress if you're not willing to play this role?" And I said, well, the nudity is not something I've done. The nudity I myself wouldn't be comfortable with. And he said, "But what is that to do with anything? It's Naomi who you're playing. And if you can do that and make it look as though you've done that a million times, you'll crack it."
Brilliant acting with the character of Naomi.
Yes.
Actually, I've synced into the character.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I loved the way you played it.
Yes, and see, you'll understand as you interview me that I have a very passionate, empathic nature, which is not easy. But if I'm challenged, I'm a rebel. I haven't done the normal route. It fires something in me, like the people in London that said, "You will never be an actress, please go back to the north. We can't understand what you're saying. Please go away." But they had no idea of my passion and my ability and my fire. So I used that, and I thought, I can go back, or I can not give in. So, you have to turn some things around in life and use it positively. So I turned that into fire. So this is what I did.
Two things: have your passion and have your love for whatever you love to do in your life.
Yes.
And never give up.
Never ever give up.
That's
Never give up. Never give up. And I have, fellow actors, performers, musicians. They keep going and keep going. Sometimes physically it's made difficult for you, but it doesn't mean the fire is any less in anybody. Age is just something we've labeled people, by this age you should be doing this. What is this? By what age? And who are you to tell me? And everybody's different on top of that. So I mean, who you are and your essence comes from within you. The labels, the ageism, the where you're from, how you speak, what color is your skin, it's all labels. It does not interest me one iota. I am not interested in labels at all. So going back to the fire, going back to that line. So this for the character was about what she had been through and her strife in her life. To play this line and to play that character, I had to dig very deeply. I researched it. I met with working girls, and I interviewed them, and I spent time with them. And those women were quite amazing. I really saluted every single one, their lives, and how they came to be doing what they were doing. And human nature is first to judge.
Yes.
But when I spoke to those women, once you understand their stories and their journeys, you cannot judge anybody. Everybody's journey is different. But I had to kind of mix a method acting, because it had to come from inside of me, with cinematic, acting. So it was very different types of acting all mixed together to play that role. What I already knew and what I didn't know. So it was a huge achievement for me to get through it.
So you have great experience when it comes to art, music,
Yes.
performance,
Yes.
theatre, cinema, television,
Yes.
singing as well.
Yes.
And very few personality had a combination of all of them.
Yes.
And I learned lately that you want to give it to the next generation as well.
Yes. Yes, I do.
To share something more about what's your
Yes,
plan next?
I'd be glad to. Okay, so everything that I have learned with acting and singing, first of all, is self-recognized, self-taught, self-digested. I have had some fortunate moments in my career where I have met amazing actors like Ray, June Brown, who is 93 years old and still shooting for EastEnders in England, who have taken me under their wing. Wonderful artists that I've worked with, everybody that I've worked with, I have taken something from that experience. So what I'm teaching here in Mumbai is to people, not students. People, most of them are children, but I do have some adults who are really willing to absorb and experience and learn the skills, the essential skills of musical theatre, which is acting, singing and dance. My main dance form is tap dancing. See, learning these three things is something, but putting the three things together and performing in all three disciplines at once is the art. That's what I teach.
And learning all of them together requires you to put a lot of heart into it.
Correct.
It's
Yes.
not something that you can just teach.
Yes.
Unless you have it, you
Yes.
feel it.
Yes.
It's difficult to learn.
Yes. Yes. The students, for want of a better word, my mentorees, my guidees, because of course the teacher learns also with everybody. They have to be dedicated, they have to be committed, and they have to be consistent. Passion comes forth in this case because you have to be at the class, you have to be there, you have to be on time because all of these art forms are about timekeeping. But the will to want to learn it, it's not about success. These are also life skills, by the way, because you're learning how to present yourself, you're learning how to speak, you're learning how to have body language, you're learning how to express yourself, you're learning how to communicate. But if some of these people go on and are successful, and I firmly believe some of the children that I'm teaching here in Mumbai will do that, because musical theatre is coming here. It's beginning, it's started, it's happening. Disney are coming. But really, we should be writing our own musicals and about the stories that are happening to people in real life. Musical theatre can be about anything, and that's what's so beautiful about that art. A story can be presented in dialogue, sung word, spoken word, and dance. What better place to be than India for that?
That's beautiful.
And of course, musical theatre is and was in the regional areas in India.
It's folk dance.
Yes.
And various forms of
Exactly.
art. That's it.
And for me, to collaborate with that, with what I can bring into it, we can do so many different fusions of classical Indian, Western things, there's just so much that could be done. But really, they need to be written, and the stories need to be written, and that is what I'm doing now. So we will be staging these musicals. They don't always have to be huge productions.
How does it feel to be in India? From very early in your age, you have some connection with India.
That's true.
So,
Yes.
How does it feel to be here?
India was the first realization that there was more to life than England.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And that happened when I was 5 years old, and I questioned my mother about a very, very beautiful sari that I had found in her wardrobe, hidden away, and it was tricolor silk, beautiful purples and turquoise and blues, and I had never seen anything like this because I'm from the north of England. I'm from a mining village which was always dark and depressed and cold. So when I opened the box to this sari, I thought I had found butterflies' wings. I was 5, so my imagination went with this sari, and when I used to wear it, I used to imagine that I was in different places. Quite honestly, that's what happened. My mother told me it was from India. It had been sent via her brother to his wife because he was stationed in India as a soldier. He had sent the sari to his wife to declare his love for her, embroidered a photograph from their wedding into the sari, had it handmade, beautiful silk, and sent it to England. It was packed in a box for many, many years until I opened the box. So when I questioned my mother about what it was, where it had come from, she told me India, and I said, well, what is? She said it's a place and it's over the moon and over the moon again. It's very far. So my imagination then, but what is it like? How is it? She told me about the monsoon. She told me that the flowers were huge and it was very exotic. And then I was 5. But it was always in my mind. The seed was planted then that I was going to go to this place. Eventually.
When did you first visit India?
I took a holiday in the year 2000 to Goa. And this was following a 1-year contract in the West End in a musical. And by the end of that, I was pretty exhausted, mentally and physically and emotionally, because it's, as I was saying to you, there's 8 shows a week in the musicals. It's not easy. And you sign contracts for a year at a time, sometimes longer. So it's 8 shows a week, the same thing over and over again. It's difficult. And creatively, you kind of run out of steam. I don't want to say I got bored, but it's not far from that. And I thought, you know what, I'll finish this contract and I'll go to India. But when you put in India on the internet, you get Goa, right? I don't know why that happens.
So many tourists.
Yes, and I literally went to Goa for a week and then I went back to England. I shot a series in England and then I came directly back with my rucksack and I traveled on my own. And I got hooked. That's what happened with me. Yes.
So in India, you happened to meet Vivek.
Yes.
Singhania.
Yes.
And how was it when you met him for the first time?
Vivek contacted me through Facebook actually. And he'd obviously seen that I was an actor. And I think he had tried to connect with me before that, and I had posted something about everything. I think it was the anniversary of that, and he noticed that. He contacted me and he said, let's meet. I'm a producer, I'm doing quite a lot of things and I'm interested in meeting you with a view to casting you, or let's just meet. I said fine, and funnily enough, we actually met in Goa at the film festival, the IFFI Film Festival in Goa, and we had a chat and he said to me, why are you living in Goa? And I said, because I'm really into the music scene, which I was, because for me that music scene was the opposite to what I had come from. So it was a very exploratory time for me. And he said, you know, you can work here, you can, you know, with open arms, you're a beautiful actress and you sing. You know, you really need to focus on this. I said, I will when the time comes, I will, which I am now, obviously. But, you know, you go through life and there are things you have to do. And being in Goa for a little length of time was good for my soul. It recuperated me. It replaced the, you know, I was depleted of energy, creative energy. So it was good for that. But he was very supportive. And then, of course, Hexing, the film Hexing came along, which is now screening in India, which is fantastic. And a very beautiful cameo came up in that. And Vivek said to me, I would like to cast you in this. Please do this little cameo. And I said, okay, who am I acting with? And he said, Ketan Anand. And I found out a little bit about Ketan and I thought, well, I'd be honored to be part of the film. So yes, and it's great that it's here in India. And he also cast me in a film called Elysium, Halcyons, which was shot in Vienna, which was a very beautiful.
That's the offbeat story, and
yeah,
your performance was like so wonderful.
Yes.
You have been selected as a best.
Yes, the film, actually it was a year ago today, I believe, funnily enough, that that film was nominated for Chicago Film Festival, and it won. It won Best International Art House Feature in Chicago last year. So that was a lovely trip to Chicago. Yeah, but it was a very beautiful film, beautifully shot by the writer Bernhard Kammel, who also directed the film. So that again came through Vivek. Yes.
So Jane, what do you like the most about you being yourself, being Jane Graveson?
What do I like about that? Sometimes I don't like it at all.
We'll come to that also.
Yes.
We'll start with what
I
you
like
the most.
I suppose when I'm on my deathbed, ready to pass, I'll probably commend myself and pat myself on the shoulder for being so brave in such a very hard industry that is still very male dominated. And to be, again, I mean, highlighting where I am now and where I wish to be, Mumbai, India, it isn't easy, and you know, I'm still a foreigner as such, even though I don't feel like one.
Oh, you are loved by all of us.
Yeah, that's very sweet. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I feel I have something to give, and it's, people say to me, why are you choosing to give what you're giving? I'm giving my soul. That's what I'm doing, because what I'm giving is not, it's not from a book, it's not from a school of learning, it's not from an acting institute, it's not from a singing institute, it's not from, you know, I don't want to name, but you know what I'm saying. There's no book. I have a Bible of my own, which is my experience, and that is invaluable. So that is how I teach these kids that are coming to me. They love it because I'm instilling in them the fire. I'm also learning Hindi because I have to communicate
with them.
Yes.
Just say a few lines in Hindi.
Oh my word, I have to be honest with you.
Or sing a song in Hindi.
I started learning last year, and I really took to the writing, and I can write in Hindi, and I'm reading in Hindi, albeit slowly. The speaking in Hindi I'm finding very, very difficult, but again, I'm not giving in. So
आप समझ जाते हो.
मैं सीख हिंदी रही हूँ.
कुछ दो लाइन हिंदी में कोई.
कुछ दो लाइन. मेरा नाम जान है.
कुछ songs. I want to listen.
Okay. Okay. हम तेरे बिना रह नहीं सकते, तेरा बिना क्या वजूद मेरा. How about that? क्योंकि तुम ही हो, अब तुम ही हो, जिंदगी अब तुम ही हो, चैन भी, मेरा दर्द भी, मेरी आशिकी अब तुम ही हो.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
And you know the meaning of the song.
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
So coming to the next question, you know, being Jane Graveson, what is it something that you would like to change if given a chance?
Anything?
Anything.
Anything.
You can
I would like children to be made aware of nature and to be guided in keeping the empathy that they're naturally born with. Because the schooling systems, I feel, are taking that from them and infiltrating them a little bit. Overworking, because school systems, education, and this is the world over, is now very much about memorizing facts, dates, this, and how well you can do with that. The exams and the paperwork and the certificates are all about how you remember something. And I feel that there is neglect on nature. How do you water a plant? What do you know about insects and nature and birds and trees? We have so much to learn. Animals, the sentient beings. And I worry, and it's a concern of mine, that as generations, we are growing, more and more of us on the earth, and I can see that there's more of us are on the phone all the time, including the kids. If they've got any break at all, they're on the iPad. And it worries me. There's no connection to nature, and if we are dislocated from that, we are finished, because we will not respect it, we will not take care of it. Nature can live without us. We cannot live without nature. If I could change that, that would be something I would change.
So again, it is something which is very much related to your field.
Yes.
That, you know, your work is all about experiences.
Yes, it's about
And
feeling things.
It's about feeling.
It's an
And the
empathy.
education
Yes,
is this day is more about knowledge and mind.
yes,
So how to add more of a heart.
yes, but again, the knowledge, what we call knowledge, is all facts.
Mind.
History, this,
It is
that, some of it isn't even true, what they teach us in school. It's not. So we have to undo a lot of things when we get out of school and then find ourselves. And that is another process, you know. I'm not negating the education system at all. I'm
can
totally
we add?
supportive of it. But it worries me that the nature isn't there. You know, just an hour of nature a week in a school for children, because they're naturally born with empathy. Children have a connection to animals and plants, insects. There's no divide. It's only as they go through the schooling system that the divide, naturally it will, because they're dislocated from nature. We will not stop cutting trees down if we don't know how they work. And I don't mean just oxygen in the air. There's so much more to trees. There's so much more.
It's a lifeline.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Jane, anything else that you would share with us, want to share with us? Of course, we would be looking forward to learn this young generation in Mumbai.
Yes, yes.
Would love to learn from
Yes,
you.
yes.
And would love to see you more on screens.
Yes.
Other than that, anything that you want to share with us?
I would like to inform you that I started writing, and some of these stories I'm talking about, I'm writing, and I'm preparing some of these into small, short, adapted musicals for children, with the idea that we will put them on stage with acting and singing and dance.
Thank you, Jane, for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Wonderful listening to you, learning about your life, and wish you a beautiful journey going ahead with India and in your professional as well as personal life.
Thank you
so
very much. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, India.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening to us on the Life Sutra show. And I will see you again with another episode with the Life Sutra, with wonderful personalities to share with you what they have learned from the life. Thank you.